So we're going around testing these read relays, and they've all been okay. I've got a couple which are reading a little bit high. So K3 and K15 are going down to 0.3 ohms. The rest are going down to like 0.18 to 0.16 or so, maybe 0.2. Those two are reading very slightly higher. But K11, which is what I'm onto now, is not working correctly at all. And I'll show you. So you can see I've clipped on. This is the sensitive area, which is normally covered up. Now someone's already been here. They've already written numbers on the relays, which is convenient, I suppose. Anyway, put the magnet on there, and there's nothing happening. Now if I get my little pokey stick, and I poke the leg of the relay, it comes on, barely, alright? Get down to like 0.3 if I push it right. I've verified it's not a solder joint by putting it straight onto the leg of the actual relay itself. And just putting stress on changes it, alright? It's just nothing there now. Give it a push. This K11 relay is flaky. I think that's a bad relay. I think that's faulty, so that one there is probably going to need replacing. Problem is, you try getting one. So if I push on there, the leg of the actual reed itself, or that one there, push on either of those, if I flex this one this way, like towards me, out and away from me, the relay will work when it's got a magnet on it. All the other relays work perfectly. This one here was reading very slightly high, as was K3, was it 8? Can't remember now, it was 3. 2 were reading slightly high, but probably fine still. But yeah, this K11 one right there is a problem. So I'm not going to do anything with it yet. I mean, it'd be different when it's got a proper electric field around it, rather than me just pushing with the magnet. Maybe that's all it is. It's just a bit of a alignment thing on the actual reed. And because I'm trying to externally do it with a magnet rather than just a coil, maybe it's behaving differently because of that. But so I'm not going to completely say it's bad yet, but I'm suspicious that relay is bad. Now that's actually a fair distance away from the actual bit which failed, which is all this front end stuff. It's, electrically it's quite a distance away. I think that's the 100 nanoamp relay. Basically to a point now, I think I'm ready to put this back in again. I had that little mishap with the resistors I was working on before. I managed to get another pair. What I've actually got now is these two resistors here. They're both 5.6 ohms or so. Yeah, these are like 5.5. And I've paired them up. These two are now 2.7704K. Should be good enough. So I've done that pairing instead. I was actually a bit lucky there, getting a pair which of the same value and the same type, which I could match up and get the right value. So I was a bit lucky there. It's actually, I prefer that bit more to the one which I had before, to be honest. I mean, if it works okay, maybe I'll try and get a proper resistor for it. Get a 2.77K one, a proper one, rather than this bodge. I'm going to go around now and go through my list of these parts which I want to check just to make sure they're definitely okay. Rule those out. And then if those all check out, I'll put it back in the casing and take the other board out, fix that fan connector. Then I've still got to do the output boards and stuff which I've got sitting on the back of the desk here. I want to check those. And if they test okay, I can't actually I could power test them I suppose. But if the output board and stuff test kind of okay, the component tests I was going to do on them, like checking the actual transistors, I don't see anything obviously bad, then I'll put those back in again and try that again as well. I just find it weird that those resistors were changed in that way with those weird values. It's almost like two different people worked on it. One person which knew what to do and one person which didn't. It's weird. So I've tested as many parts as I can on here. There's obviously the actual ICs are something which is a bit of a mystery. I might be able to test those really just powered up and check the inputs and outputs, stuff like that where possible. Now one thing that's different on this board compared to the one which is in the manual is that the manual one has got R23, 24, 3 and 28, which are quite big resistors over here, obviously meant to be precision ones like this. But instead of that, what they've got is this thin film resistor network instead. That's there instead, so that's the difference. Instead of having all those resistors there, it's got that network. It appears to be okay. There's one question I'm not sure about, it's R28. In the manual it says it's supposed to be an 80 ohm, or 80 point something ohm. I can't find that yet. So I'm not quite getting the values I'd expect. It's supposed to go between pin 1 and 2 of the DAC. This one here. I measured across there and I'm getting like 12 ohms, so it could be there. I might have to trace circuitry out and try and figure out where it is, but I don't know. I'll try and sort that bit out, but that's what I missed. I haven't got yet. What I'm going to do as well, whilst this board is out, I'm thinking, well, I might as well recap it. You've got these caps on here. I might as well take those out and replace those as well whilst the board's already out. And then that's that board hopefully done, if I've repaired the repairs. And, you know, we may have other issues still yet, but, you know, we'll see what we get. But I think the issue with this resistor over here being completely wrong, that could well have been throwing the whole circuitry out. So it could have been causing their fault. I'm going to recap it and then I'll chuck it back together and fix the other board up. I was going to take this whole circuit board out and I realised I could probably get it from the bottom. I need to sort of take the bottom panel off anyway to get that board out because of the way it's all attached, because there's a bolt that goes through holds a transformer. And I was taking this apart and I've dismantled stuff as like a rail that goes across here, which I've taken out. To get to this you have to get to the screws on the sides, which are held in by a trim plate which has got Velcro on it. Although the Velcro is really rigid, so it doesn't want to release anymore, it just rips the foam that's adhesing it anyway. So that, you get that out, you take a few screws out and stuff like that, and the bolt that goes through the transformer. There's also this shield plate that goes over there normally too. I've taken it off already. And I was getting to the connections here for that fan connector just here, and there's no pin in there. There's never been a pin, so that fan's probably never worked. The middle pin doesn't go to anything. That looks factory. That's never been touched. There's no pin there. There's two pins. That one's connected. That one is not. That doesn't go to anything. And that one has got no pin. It's like, has this fan never even run? That's weird. Because the fan is definitely going to, a bit shot. See, goes to the two connections on the ends. And the middle connections, if thinking, okay, maybe someone's pulled the pin out and moved it over to shut it up or something, you know. Maybe the fan was really bad and they did that to try and preserve it, or something, instead of unplugging it. But no, that middle pin doesn't go anywhere. So it has to go to those two other ones. But there's no pin there. And that is the weirdest thing ever. So I've just pulled out the pin that was in the middle position. So never soldered. So I just pulled it out because there's no circuit board, no traces going to that pin at all. So I'm going to desolder the other one and shove this one back in and put it in the right place. Once I push that pin through, I can now solder it on and that'll be corrected. That's the weirdest thing ever. So I've continued replacing parts. I'm just doing capacitors, just recapping, nothing too exciting, so I haven't bothered recording video on it. I've replaced all these capacitors here, that group have been done. I haven't done that one, that one, that one, or that one yet. I think I can do that one. I'm finding the capacitors I'm taking out are all measuring 20 to 30% low, sometimes worse than that. I think one was like 40% low one, so it's quite bad, all reading lower. So there's a 10,000 microfarad here, it's measuring 8,100. There's 4,700 here, that's measuring 3,900, so that's way out of spec. I don't actually have the right one for this yet. I might have to see if I've got something. I don't think I do have one. I've been looking already, but it's a 4,700 63 volt, and that's a 10,025 volt, which I do have. I do have those ones. And these are 560 at 20 volts. These are measuring about 515 or so. So 10% down, acceptable. But what worries me is that these are next to these hot resistors, so they're doing surprisingly well, to be honest. Don't think I've got those either. I've got 680s, but I don't think I've got one in that voltage. I'll have to double check. If I've got the parts, I'll replace them. But all those small ones here are done. It's just those four bigger ones which I haven't done yet. I'm hoping I do actually have the parts to do it. I just thought I'd mention that in the video because it seems that the trend is that all of these are measuring below value, which is interesting. Also, I need to make sure I don't forget these smaller caps, these little ones here. There's also some between those heat sinks, so I can see a couple down there. So I think there's 5 of them. 6 of them, there's another one around there I can see. So there's a few of these small ones. They're probably 10 microfarad 25 volt, that's what was on this board. I've already done those ones. So I'll need to make sure I don't forget to do those ones too. So then that's basically all the small ones done. I'll just have to work getting these bigger ones done maybe at a later date. So I'm now progressing on to the output boards and everything. Like I said, these caps need replacing. I've done some of them. I've done these ones, which are the 2.2 and 4.7s, and there's also a 330 over here. Didn't have a 330, I put a 470 in there. Should be fine. These was the 10 microfarad 350 volt. These are also 350 volt caps. That's a 63 volt. I don't have the right size. I do have the correct value, but they're physically bigger. So I've had to order the right ones for that, so I'll change those later on once I get them. So I've marked those as being old ones, so that should be good to go. I haven't tested anything on this board. I'm not sure what there is to test. I'm going to assume it's okay. It may not be. I might just check some transistors, a few transistors around. There's no capacitor over there, just noticed that. I should change that one too. But yeah, I'll just check some diodes or what have you, make sure the diodes and stuff are okay. So just some discretes on there, and say a few transistors, not many. But yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll get onto this one. I'll let you know if there's any problems. I might as well show you, I suppose. Replaced that cap now when I missed before. Let's have a look. 373, that's good. That one's alright. Good. 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 It's got leakage there. Might be external componentry, let's have a look. 7.3 there. Trying to see. So definitely a junction there. Junction there, okay, that's alright. Junction there. Junction there, that's good. One down here. I was looking for junctions. Junction that way. Junction that way, but they're different. I don't know, are they? 564. 625, what is that part? The fact they're different is interesting. That is a regulator, voltage regulator, so that's fine. Got these big devices here. 0.24, interestingly. 0.27. Check the other one. These are the same. Okay. I think these might be regulators as well. I might have to check. There's some kind of MOSFETs or something maybe. Yeah, not really getting much sensible readings from these. There's no shorts, so I think they're probably fine. Positive, negative going to the coil, so it's probably some kind of drivers. What are they? IRF 530s, so yeah, that's why I'm getting some weird readings in MOSFETs. Okay, so that's the transistors. Let's check diodes. Good. Other way. Good. Yeah, there's quite a few on here. Maybe I won't show you the whole, all of them. That way's good. That one here is not good. That's interesting. What's this one? Let's check that one out. That seems interesting. That's good. Yep. So there's a diode just there, which is interesting. What are the stories with that? Definitely not getting a diode junction on it. 2.4 volts that way. 2.3 volts that way. That's suspicious. Okay, let's keep going. Good. Might have to do reverse bias in all of them. See if there's anything pops out as being weird. Okay, so that's that one there so far. If I just do it one way, it'd be usually good enough to tell you if it's bad or not. Or something's not quite right. Okay, just looking down here. Right. This is the voltage multiplier ladder. Can't see which one the diode is. So obviously that way. Okay. just do it that way so we can quicker. This is why I like multimeters that beep, because when they beep, it's like, yeah, okay, good, move on. Double check that one. I moved. Fortunately, the light's reflecting on the meter, so I can't see it. Anyway, this I'll sit back a bit. Good. Good. Let's check these other ones. Good. 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 If one of these diodes is gone, the multiplier won't work. So, okay, that's all those. There's one more down there. One more there. I think I did those ones anyway, so check them anyway. And one more down there. 0.24. So that's probably a shock key, is it? Could be. Okay, that's all the diodes. So I've only got one which is suspicious. I need to look that one up and find out what the story is on that one. Well, that is a Zener diode. So let's just try and test it in circuit with this. Let's see if I can do it in circuit. It's also linked to the voltage regulator there, so it could be kind of trying to power itself in a way and causing an issue with the reading. I guess we'll find out. Let's click this on and see what we get. 6.24 volts. It's measuring fine. Yeah, it works alright. Can you see that? So yeah, that's alright. There's nothing wrong with that. Increase the current. Yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So at least on the surface, this board seems fine. So apart from obviously these capacitors here, which I know I need to replace, I haven't tested them. I will actually go through and test these. Actually, I should really get them on the tester and see what they're like. Ones I've pulled out already. I know that all these little 10 microfarad 25 volt ones I've been pulling out from all over the place. These, at least all the ones I've tested, which is quite a few of them, not all of them, they've been perfectly fine. So these are actually good caps still. I didn't really need to change them, but I'm just doing like a blanket replacement because then it's like as good as it's going to be. You know, these could start failing any day. You know, you just don't know. This is a fairly old instrument after all. At least now it's got brand new ones in there, and you know the one I've put in there should last another 10-20 years. These you just don't know. They could have lasted that long too. They could, you know, these are Nichicons. They're decent quality. You know, in a way it's a shame to just replace them, but it's just good practice, I think. Just replace them on site and just be done with it. On old equipment, and new equipment is no point, but old equipment it's worth doing because you just don't know how much life you're going to get. I mean, the capacitor itself may still be good, but the rubber on the bottom might start leaking, and then you end up corrosion on the circuit board and destroys your boards. That happens. So it's precautionary. I've said this many times in lots of videos, and people which watch my videos are probably sick of hearing me say it, but I replace capacitors even if they're still good, just because they're old.